Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you another paint review video. I actually haven't done one of these in a little while, but I've got a couple of sets of paints that I've received recently and that I really want to test out and show you guys on the channel. As you know, I am a huge fan of anything contrast. I use them in pretty much every video that I do. I have tried the Green Stuff World dipping inks as well. I'm a big fan of the Army Speed paints. In fact, I'm getting the second set of Army Speed paints sent out to me next week. So hopefully I'll do a video on that for you as well. But ones that I haven't had a chance of getting around to using yet are the awesome Vallejo Xpress Color range. People seem to think these are pretty good. I've managed to get my green mitts on 12 of them. They were sent to me by Eirehobbies, so a very big thank you for them for sending them out so I could have a little play around with them. And yeah, I've actually had them for quite a few weeks now and I haven't had a chance to do it. So that's what I'm going to do here today. I'm going to test them in their rawest form, in that I have printed off 3 models from Dragon Trapper's Lodge. These awesome kind of dinosaur miniatures with huge crystals coming out of their back. They're actually the sponsor of today's video and I will talk a little bit more about them later in the video. And I'm just, like I said, I'm going to try them in their rawest form. All I'm going to do is use 1 coat of Express Color on 3 different parts of the model, on 3 models. I'm going to try out 9 of the paints and see what kind of results that I can get and give you my thoughts on Express paint and if they live up to the name of, you know, contrast or speed paint or anything like that. And if I think you should have some of them in your collection. So that's what today's video is going to be like. Some awesome dinosaurs, some crazy colors, and some paint review. So hopefully that will interest you guys and you'll stick around and watch the video. Before I get into it, huge thank you to all of my patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome and you keep the lights on and the cameras rolling. If you guys are interested in getting involved in that, I will leave links to it below. You get some extra rewards like access to a private Discord server where you can talk to me on a daily basis about your awesome hobby. And you get an extra video every single week. So that's 52 extra videos a year for being a member. I think that's some pretty cool rewards. Okay, without further ado, let's start slapping some paint on some dinosaurs. And a huge thank you to today's sponsor, which is of course the Dragon Trapper's Lodge, who was able to provide me with these unreal STLs that I could print off and use to test out these paints on. Dragon Trapper's Lodge provides bundles for STL files every single month. All you have to do is go over and sign up to their Patreon. I will leave links to all of that below. They have 3 main tiers. Trapper tier for those people who are interested in Dungeons and Dragons, and they give you scenarios and everything to play through. Soldier tier is actually for the miniature wargame enthusiast, and this provides an entire range of miniatures every single month, and they have combined rules with 1-page rules so you can play them every single month. And if you are just a greedy sod like me, the veteran tier is for you, and it will provide you with the miniatures from both Trapper and Soldier tier each and every month for a very competitive price. I decided to print off these guys as they are have got lovely texture, and I think they will take to the Express paints very, very well, and that's what I'm here to test today. So I printed off 1 of each of the sculpts of their basically Pachyosaurs. They're awesome. They've got 4 arms and they got awesome crystals growing out of their backs. When I saw the miniatures, I was actually thinking a lot about Eldar Aspect Warriors, or should I say Eldar Exodites, and perhaps using some of these crazy dinosaurs to make some units for those. Maybe count these as Shining Spears or something like that. I think it'd be fairly cool. Like I said, I've gotten my growing mitts on 12 of the Express paints already, and I'm going to test out them on these miniatures. And like I said, in the rawest of forms, I just want to apply the Express color, see how it dries, see how it sits on the model, see how it works, see how it feels to use, and I'm going to go from there. I actually managed to get my hands on 3 different greens, and I'm going to apply all 3 different greens to this first guy. So this is the Plague green. And the first time I started applying it, the tone for me didn't scream plague. Obviously I'm so used to the contrast equivalent to a plaguey color and it being a lot more bright, a lot more vibrant. So I don't know whether I would use this for anything to do with plague. Although as a military color, Astra Militarum and the likes, I think this green is absolutely stunning. Catachan Fatigues, for instance, is another one where I immediately see some uses for it. Great coverage. It did exactly what it said in the tin, settled into the recesses really well. Quite happy with that. Move over to the next green, decide to apply this to all of the crystals except for the big giant crystal in the dome of his head. I'm going to do that a different color. This green I really liked because as I was applying it to these crystals, I think it just acted as the perfect color for that kind of Necron. It looked like Necron crystals growing out of the back of this dinosaur. Now, unfortunately, for some reason, when I'm trying to paint the crystals on these guys, I really struggle to keep the goddamn model in frame, so I do apologize for that. But as you can see, the crystals look amazing. This was my favorite green out of the 3 so far, and I can definitely see uses for this. I then grabbed the orc skin and just tried that on the center of the head, on the big extra dome bit. I don't know what kind of crazy orc skin this could be. To me, it seems so bright and so vibrant, very cartoony. So as for orc skin, not really sure about that. But as a coverage, gives great coverage. It's nice and bright and vibrant, and it does exactly what it says in the tin. So happy with that. Okay, next blank model. The orange is a big one for me because orange is my favorite color, and it's also, in my opinion, one of the most difficult colors to paint. I think it might even be harder than yellow and white to paint. I've yet to see many people pull off a really nice orange scheme. So, applying the contrast. To tell you the truth, as I started applying it, I didn't think it was going to be opaque enough, and I thought it was going to be kind of drab and like really pallid, and it wasn't going to do the job. But I soldiered through. Like I said, this was a test, so good or bad, we're going to go through it and see what it does. And as I applied one solid coat, I was actually quite pleased. I really liked how it looks. It's got a nice natural tone to it. I'm not sure if it would work on like unnatural things like armors and stuff. So maybe I should test that out on some Space Marines or something later on and see how that works. The next was one of the more surprising colors, was the red. The contrast reds are stunning. Both Flesh Tear's red and Blood Angel's red are stunning. And this one, I think, just adds to it. It's not the same tone as either of those. It feels more like a kind of like an Evil Sunz Scarlet color or Wild Rider red kind of color in a contrast form. And this applied very, very well, and it dried really nice. I love this color, and definitely can see myself using it in the future. Imperial Yellow is another one. Obviously, contrast has given us Imperial Fist Yellow these days, and that is just so powerful that I don't know if anything else will knock it from its perch. And I really wish I'd used this yellow on a larger area, because on this domed bit here, it's such a small piece of the model that it's quite easy to get a nice solid coat. So I don't know whether I trust that one just yet. I think I might print off another dinosaur and do the entire skin in yellow and see if it jumps out. For the last one, I wanted to try some of the more wazzy colors. So Snake Green, which is kind of like a turquoisey color. I applied this in turquoise, lizards, lizard men, dinosaurs. It all kind of works. So I was very curious to see how this was going to look. And did not disappoint. Really like the color. Turquoise is another one of my favorite ones, but it's one you kind of struggle to find an actual use for in many other places. Not a lot of armies utilize turquoise, so it's fun to just play around with it a little bit. And what can I say about the Xpress Colors? They definitely flow off the brush very, very similar to contrast. They pool very similar to contrast, and I mean that in a good way. It settles into the recesses correctly, leaves the kind of flatter, higher areas nice and bright. Dries relatively quickly. I didn't see any bleed. Yeah, for me, these Express paints are definitely a solid addition to anybody's range. They hit about as well as contrast. So I don't think contrast is any better. I don't think this is any worse. I think if you are a painter yourself, I think the thing to look out for is colors. So for instance, the color that I'm using now, this kind of pinky red color, there's no equivalent to that in the contrast range. So for me, this is going to be a perfect color to use for like wax seals for my purity seals and stuff like that. So that makes me very happy. So I think the only question you ask yourself is, which is the most easily accessible to get and add to your painting collection? And then, like I said, pick your colors. Other than that, I think both of these have a very solid place in your collection of paints. I can see absolutely no downside to the Express range. This guy turned out way funkier than I was planning on doing, with the kind of the pink crystals and the blue skin. But for some reason, I think it works. It looks kind of awesome. No idea quite yet what it should be, but I like it. Instead of going for another crazy bright color, I just wanted to test out the black. And the black seemed to give you a nice solid coat. This one I don't think is as good as Black Templar or Black Legion, to be honest. But like the yellow, I only tried it on a very small area. It did a great job, but not quite as crazy as before. So here is all of the 3 models painted, dried. I had 3 other Express colors, so I just threw them around the base of that guy because I wanted to test them out. The blue, a coppery brown color, and then a standard brown color. They were really nice as well. So as solid 1-coat Express paints, I think these 3 dinosaurs turned out pretty well. I'm happy with them. And I would be happy to recommend these paints to you guys if they are something you are interested in. I can see no reason not to pick them up. The only question I gotta ask myself now is, how do I get my hands on the rest of the range to test out? And which other ones are going to I don't know, knock some contrast off the top spot and take their place. I guess we'll have to wait and see what comes of that in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed this kind of paint review video. I've got a couple more of them lined up in the future, so I do hope you enjoyed them. Okay, and there we have it. We have 3 dinosaurs all colored up. I think they're pretty good. I must say the Express Color paints are a very solid paint range. Very happy with them. There's definitely some paints in there that I will be hijacking and using as some of my daily contrast paint replacements, and those greens are absolutely fantastic. The red was incredible, and I really did love the crazy colored pink and turquoise one. That scheme as a whole I think deserves to be on something. Yeah, Tau battle suit. Is that crazy? I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on Express paints below in the comments, experiences you've had, pros and cons. Try and get as much awareness on these as possible and to help us decide whether we want to add them to our paint ranges. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to this end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give the video a like. Ask me any question you want in the comments below. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. It makes a huge difference. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.